What up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with another Game Theory FNAF reaction. It is time to get back into that rabbit hole, and today we are peeping out FNAF. The answer was right in front of us. Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. Now, we've been having an absolute blast at this time period in Game Theory's lore on FNAF, which is sister location. There's just so much lore packed into that game, and I'm loving watching Matt Pat dive into it. So, before we jump in this video, make sure you show Matt Pat over Game Theory some love by subscribing to his channel. And if you enjoy my reactions, smash that subscribe button because it greatly helps. But enough talking, let's get to reacting and roll that bomb-ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo, woo. Go! Theory time. Theory time. Right? Uh-oh. Ooh, we made a little.
I am Springtrap.
Matt Pat Springtrap. What?
A horde of the Balloon Boys emerged from the cave, shaking back and forth on unsteady feet.
A horde of balloon boys, like a whole gaggle of them, a group of them.
Their pointed teeth chattering loudly as they wobbled forward with staring eyes. Not again! I hate these things, Jessica cried.
How many
You
balloon
and me
boys are
both,
there?
Sister, you and me both. Up top. Can't
Yeah,
high five me up
sister.
top because you're a fictional character. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game
Theory.
Where...
Whoa, why Five Nights at Freddy's 6 was canceled 2017. That changes.
Yeah.
Sad news for FNAFers. Is that what we're called, chat? Do we have a legit name? Are we FNAFers?
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. FNAF 6 is canceled. Looks like I had more staying power than you, Scotty C. Let's be honest,
Or
though,
did
it's
you?
gonna be more delayed than canceled, really. And there's still
It
the
didn't get
movie,
canceled.
the merch, a second book just released.
The movie got delayed too. That's still coming. This future Hot Sauce Beats, by the way.
A third book coming soon, and a fourth
wow.
one on the way. So just like the animatronics,
All the books you can
the series
handle.
itself keeps getting reborn in new forms with increasingly absurd names. Withered Freddy, Nightmare Chica, Not So Fun Time Franchise. Speaking of ridiculous new names for the same old cast of animals,
so
let's
much
talk
fun
about
for
the
the
latest addition to the
franchise.
roster, the Twisted Animatronics. Stars of the new FNAF book that came out at the end of June. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this book was definitely a step up from the first. It had 200 less pages.
Half the pages, baby. Instantly makes it better, right?
Yeah,
Am I right or am I right?
I mean, don't take that as too high of a compliment. In 200 pages, you still had a college robotics major going to the scene of a murder and then touching the victim, getting blood all up on her hands, and
You're not supposed to do that.
No one on the police force even batting an eye over the blatant crime scene tampering that was happening.
supposed to
Then
do
there's
that.
the fact that in the book, multiple balloon boys, including BB, JJ, and
Okay, so yeah, this is where the horde of balloon boys. I mean, that would be terrifying. Just a whole gaggle of balloon boys
whatever
chasing
other
after you.
ridiculous combination of letters you can come up with are canon too. But you know what? I still gotta appreciate lines like page 183. You never know when a corpse may wander out of the shadows wearing a rabbit suit. Even the books have become self-aware of their own
That's
absurdity
good.
at
You
this
never
point.
know. It
Now,
can
at this
happen
point,
at
Scott
any
has made it
time,
clear that
dude.
The books and the games are separate
So many
canons.
different
and while
suits,
that may
randomly.
be true, both are still shambling their way out of Scott's mind brain. We all know that Scott leaves plenty of holes in
Got
his
a big
story.
mind brain.
Details or events that are left purposefully vague so that we can theorize to fill in those gaps. But what's interesting is that he leaves different holes in each series. And by looking at the two series in tandem, those holes start to fill themselves
Connect
in
them
with events
together.
from the sister series,
Together.
the sister location. No, just no. Anyway, reading Twisted Ones was like reading the crib notes for Sister Location, because a lot, and I mean a lot of that game's weirdness became more and more clear as I turned more and more pages. So FNAF 6 may be dead, but we're gonna go back to beat the dead horse animatronic that is Sister Location. Can we name it Horsey?
We are
Horsey,
loving it.
Dead
We
Horse
love
Animatronic?
the lore for
Read it
Sister
every time we do an
Location.
episode about one of these games. Great. Dead horse animatronic Horsey one final time, because thanks to the Twisted Ones, we have all the information we need to help that game make just a little bit more sense. First, how do we know that this book is anywhere close to related to Sister Location? Well, it's easy. The answer's in the title, The Twisted Ones. The recurring threat in the book are these so-called twisted animatronics. But even though we're supposed to think that this is a new breed of killer robot, they're not. Not at all, in fact. We've seen him before in Sister Location. Check out this description and let me know if it sounds familiar. Page 90. The creature had no fur and its face was smooth. It had a short muzzle and oval ears sticking out from the sides of its head. It had the general appearance of an animal's head, though much larger than the animatronic animals from Freddys. Running down the center of its face was a long, straight split, exposing wires and a line of metal frame.
Yep,
A thick
we've seen 'em.
plastic material was stuck to the face in large patches. So the twisted animatronics have a plastic-like covering and a face that splits open. It certainly sounds like the aesthetic of the Funtime animatronics, but it doesn't stop there. These guys were built to be big because their mission is to capture children.
Get in my belly!
For revenge.
Get in my belly!
His face slid across the bed like a python. His head lost its shape as it folded outward, taking hold of her feet and beginning to swallow, moving slowly upward as she fought not to scream or fight, his cheeks and chin dislocating further. It no longer resembled a living thing. Before she could struggle further, her arms were pinned to her side, trapped inside the thing. Only her head remained free. She gasped for a last breath.
Oh, bro.
And was violently scooped up, consumed by the creature. She done got scooped. Then, a few pages later, she was inside a cavity made for a human being, but the suit was moving with complete autonomy. In case you've forgotten, this is exactly what we see in Sister Location's hidden animatronic blueprints. Oversized robots with special containment features to lure in and trap small children. Even the description for how people get scooped into the animatronics is reminiscent of Sister Location's horrific ice cream minigame with Baby. Page 92. The animatronic's arms lifted and its chest opened like an iron gate. Its metal pieces slid out of place to reveal a dark, gaping pit where sharp spikes and spring locks were just barely visible. It was a
It sounds like a torture chamber, dude.
She beat against its bent and damaged arm, but the other arm steadily forced her closer to the chest cavity. So why does any of this, and the Twisted Ones as a whole book, matter in the context of the FNAF
It
games?
all matters, because
In
it's
the opening
law!
sequence of Sister Location, we hear that the Funtime animatronics were built by William Afton.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
A guy who, up to that point in the series, had only been named in the first book, Silver Eyes. By the end of the book, we learned that William is Purple Guy, the killer who
Purple
kidnaps
Guy is
kids
William.
while wearing a golden Bonnie suit. But Silver Eyes also introduced us to other important characters for the FNAF series as a whole, including Henry, no last name given, William's partner.
Oh, yeah, we didn't know about Henry
the
before
one
the
who
book.
actually created the animatronics. So after reading Silver Eyes, we were left with William, the business guy who doesn't create robots but does kill children, and Henry,
And he will. He'll get better robotics. I promise you that.
the creator who does create robots but doesn't kill children. Got all that? Good. Now, in my FNAF 5 decoded
taken
video,
in my-
I drew parallels
my
between
brain.
Henry and a mysterious figure that we saw during a secret cutscene of FNAF World, both of whom create animatronics and commit suicide. Long story short, in the game, he ends his own life because he created Baby, a robot that he's ashamed of. In the book, why Henry kills himself is still a big part of the mystery. Now, if you want
Henry's
more
not
information
dead.
about the parallels between these two characters, click
So chat, by the way, who is this then? In the minigame, because it's not Henry, and it's not William. So who is this that's dead at the desk? That's a question I just now thought of. Because we, at this time, I think it's 5 years ago. Yep, 5 years ago. We, at this time, believe that's Henry, or Matt Pat saying that, but we know Henry's not dead,
the
so...
eye icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen because I go more in-depth there. But after that video, it seemed like a lock. We finally had some solid leads as to who these key players in the games were, and the clues were coming from Silver Eyes.
We getting
Like,
lore,
what
baby, we
opening
getting lore!
cinematic from Sister Location played the first time we all booted up the game. Afton acknowledged that he was the one who created the new robots, and everyone, including myself, was like, well, there went that theory. Afton was supposed to be the business guy, not the creator. So if he's the one
now
who
he is,
builds
too.
animatronics in the game, then Henry must not exist in this universe. Scott had pulled the wool over my eyes, or at least retconned huge parts of his story to keep me off the scent once again. Except not.
darn
the
you,
theory
Sense.
was right the first time. The Twisted Ones book confirms that both Henry and William Afton create animatronics, with the originals being built by Henry and the Twisted Funtime style animatronics being Afton's. On page 92 of the Twisted Ones, we see the main character Charlie, daughter of Henry, talking about one of these new animatronics. Whoa, the hardware, the joints, it's older technology. Maybe he made them earlier? I don't know. I recognize some of this as my dad's work, but then a lot of it's foreign to me. Someone else may have had a hand in it. I'm not sure if my dad made it or not, but I have a feeling he's the one who buried it. Oh yeah, by the way, in the book, the twisted animatronics bury themselves during the day and come out at night to nab people. Animatronic zombies. Why not? It is probably one of the things that makes more sense in the book, honestly. Anyway, it's continually hinted at throughout the book that these animatronics weren't
It
built
makes
like
perfect sense, dude.
My father wouldn't have used
Just imagine him like diving straight into the ground like a dog.
this. He always put stops so that the joints couldn't do things humans can't do. Then again, on page 113, the bear was frightening, misshapen, an imitation of Freddy created by someone else. It was a strange variation, into which her father had never breathed life, but William Afton, Dave, did. And then finally, William Dave, baby purple guy, Springtrap Afton confirms it on page 186.
Did you think my robots would be as poorly designed as your father's?
So there you go. The original theory still stands.
Talking
Henry
trash,
and
bro.
William can both
He be
active
talking
players
trash,
in
chat.
the game universe because both build animatronics. And if you need even more evidence, then think about it this way. At the end of FNAF World, Henry admits that he created Baby, and then he kills himself, ashamed of his creation.
Again, who is this, chat? Who is this? Because it ain't Henry. It ain't Henry.
At the beginning of Sister Location, we see that Afton is still alive, he's claiming creation rights, and he's obviously proud of his new robots. Then, at the end of the
Until
game,
it
his son
kills
Michael
your
Afton
daughter.
says that he's gonna come find his father.
Father, it's me, Michael. I'm going to come find you.
Thus, William is still alive, Henry is dead, but both must be a part of these games. And that's an important detail to solidify because the book also confirms something that FNAF theorists had been speculating.
Chat, have you guys read this? Do you like this book more than Silver Eyes? Because I know it seems like people kind of have a love-hate relationship with Silver Eyes. Silver Eyes is amazing because of the lore that it brought to the game, essentially changing the whole series. But as far as readability, it sounds like a lot of you didn't really enjoy reading it. So I'm wondering how much better the Twisted
About
Ones
since
is.
the release of Sister Location. One of the weirdest details from that game was hidden in Funtime Freddy's room, where a map of FNAF 4's house was above and directly connected to the map of the Sister Location facility. It was also something that was hinted at throughout the Silver Eyes novel. Again, something that I covered in a previous theory, linked via those iCards in the upper right-hand corner. But Twisted Ones not only confirms this underground bunker for Sister Location exists, it also confirms whose house it's built under. Henry's. In the novel, we see the twisted animatronics capture the main character Charlie, again, Henry's daughter, and drop her off in some remixed version of the FNAF 2 pizzeria. I say remixed because, like a lot of this book, it's a weird hybridization of the things that happen in the games and other stuff. It's got the carousel and balloon boys from the FNAF 2 location,
All
but
the
then
balloon
there's a
boys.
cave and a waterfall for some reason. Because why not? FNAF 7,
like
Under
Batman.
the Sea. Earlier in the book, Charlie
Under
and her
the
boyfriend
sea.
John, who admittedly has to be the most patient and loving boyfriend in the history of the universe. Like, Charlie shows him no sense of affection, and he is there just like a sad puppy dog. It is tragic.
Sad
Anyway,
boys.
those who go to visit Charlie's childhood home, which has been destroyed by a storm. And what they find is that the storm has broken down a wall to reveal a new room, a secret room, hidden in their house that Charlie had never known about. Quote, that's not even part of the house.
Now, hold on, chat. So, this part's kind of confusing because we know, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but don't we know that this stuff is under William's house and not Henry's? But then this is physically written in the book. So, do both of them have a lore? Do both of them have a lair underneath their house, Henry and William? Because again, we know, fast forward to time now, that William had Sister Location? Or the old one. Or it was built on top. Damn it, now I'm confusing myself. So, okay. Did just Henry have something under his house then? But I could have swore it was Michael, because I swear in the new timeline we talked
I've never
about that.
seen this room before. The walls were made of dark concrete, and the room was small and windowless. A box jammed into the house and sealed away beneath the rooms. Whatever's out there killing people.
Maybe
came
it's
from
a
there.
tornado
When
shelter.
the storm broke the wall, a section of the house was sealed until the storm broke through.
See?
What's really
That
important
part of the
here
house
is what's
survived the
revealed when
storm.
Charlie and the gang escaped from that underground pizzeria I mentioned. On page 194, we're out. We're okay. Don't you see where we are? she whispered. Slowly, she walked the length of the room, gesturing to the 4 enormous pits in the floor, one of which contained a headless, half-buried robot. John, this is my dad's house. It's the room we found. They escaped upward out of the underground pizzeria and wound up in Henry's house. So
yes,
slowly
I
the
knew,
pieces
dude,
started to
yes.
fit together.
What? I'm so confused, because again, in future lore, we talk about this being Michael's house, or William's house on top of it.
Henry in the book buries and tries to
So is
seal
that
off
just
the
a
twisted
part of the
animatronics
book
and then commits
in new
suicide
lore
out
that
of guilt
doesn't
for helping William to build these things in the
correlate
first place,
together, I guess?
just like we see him do in Fnaf world. And just like
Just
we see
like
the
that.
underground bunker underneath a normal everyday home in Sister Location. And I'm just getting started, because while all this other information is certainly interesting, Twisted Ones exposed a detail from Sister Location so tiny and so minute that we all overlooked it in our excitement over decoding underground storage facilities and tracking animatronic eye color. And yet, much like that infamous Chica Beak clue from FNAF 2 and 4, this small detail is so monumentally earth-shattering to the franchise as we know it that I can't not talk about it here. On Sister Location's Night 3, Michael Afton's big task is to remove a power module from Funtime Freddy. After following the narrator's instructions on which buttons to press and what order to press them in, Freddy's chest pops open and the power module reveals itself. And it's this little blinking black dot, oddly unconnected to literally anything else in the animatronic, and in a pretty unusual place, just kinda stuck on, slightly off to the side. I remember thinking at the time that this was an odd design choice for something that was supposedly powering the whole animatronic, but meh, how would I know? No one, and I mean no one, called this thing out.
I mean, you know, Iron Man would probably know. He's got a chest power source too. He'd probably know. We should ask Iron Man.
Considering Night 3 in general was just kinda forgettable, overshadowed by the misery that was the Spring Lock challenge on Night 4 and the fascinating map Easter eggs hidden on Night 2. But of course, this is FNAF. And no detail is too small in this series, and
FNAF.
Twisted Ones blew the lid off this disc's true purpose. Its little mystery being so important that it's the reason they're called the Twisted Ones in the first place. Stick with me now, because I'm not making any of this up. That little device from Sister Location is actually a mind control disc. Pause for all the stunned gasps and requisite eye rolls. I don't blame either of those reactions. Let me explain. Throughout the book, anytime the twisted animatronics show up, people start to feel weird side effects. Page 91 and 92. As her hand touched the creature, a wave of nausea hit her, but it lasted only a split second. Something else about it had transformed at the same time. Its artificial skin took on a luminescence, and its movements were fluid and sure. Its casing suddenly appeared to have skin and fur, though they were blurry, flickering like a trick of the light.
Because it's
Now, after
controlling
destroying one of these
what your
twisted
mind sees?
animatronics, Charlie and boy toy John discover a weird object embedded in the machine. Quote, it was a flat disc, about the size of a $50 coin. She held it up to her ear. Wow, that's really high-pitched. I can barely hear it. The sound is why you feel sick. It emits some kind of signal. It changes what those things look like. It changes our
It's in the
perception
book.
of what they look like, Charlie corrected. Freddy's image flickered like static on a television screen. The color faded from his fur, then everything that made him Freddy winked out, leaving only a smooth plastic figure in his place. It looked like the rest of the animals in the room, a blank mannequin stripped of its characteristics. These aren't made out of fur and fabric. They're made by us, by twisting our minds. You shot the chip, you killed the illusion. Twisting our minds, you say.
Ooh.
Roll credits!
Boom, boom.
Now, for as
Bruce
ridiculous
Willis
as
is
a small
Freddy.
disc that emits sounds that gets your brain to change the way it perceives the world around you sounds, it's actually kinda based in scientific fact. The brain is constantly having to process tons of information, so it is
All the
always
info,
looking
chat,
for
all of
shortcuts.
it.
For instance, if I show you this text, you're probably going to be able to read it really quickly, right? It's because the brain isn't reading text by individual letters, but rather by the context of the other words around it, the way it expects the sentence to go, and making guesses off the most frequent short words that it sees on a day-to-day basis. The same is generally true in visual perception. Without going into detail here, it's how optical illusions work, and there's been plenty of research on how the brain fills in visual gaps
Imagination.
that it experiences. So the idea that a disc is shooting out
Imagination.
sounds that distract you and thus cause your perception of reality to change to stuff that you're actually more familiar with isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. At least not as far-fetched as robots haunted by dead children getting into an all-out rumble against other animatronics built to vor unsuspecting victims, which is
Very
literally a thing
realistic,
that
bro.
happens
It's
in
so
climax of the
real.
film. Not to
So
spoil
real.
anything. And of course, it probably goes without saying, but these little mind-controlled discs were created by none other than dear old dad, William Afton, page 99. There was writing
Mr.
along one
Afton.
edge. She had to bring the piece of plastic close to her face to make the letters out. They were tiny.
They
and
even
written
say
in an
Afton Robotics.
old-fashioned
Okay.
flowing script. They read Afton Robotics, LLC. Charlie dropped the disc immediately. Afton? William Afton. That's my father's old partner. That's Dave's real name, John finished. I thought he was
My
just
bad.
a business partner
Wrong
for
person.
Freddys, she said slowly. I guess he did a bit more than that. So why and how does this matter in the context of the games? I actually think it has the potential to explain a lot. First, from the book. So the animatronics aren't changing shape, we're just being distracted. What's the purpose of that, though? To earn our trust, to look more friendly, to look more
Look
real,
less
to
frightening.
lure kids closer. And that's something we definitely see at
So
play
we can
throughout Sister
scoop
Location.
ya!
It was even
We
in
can
the hidden
scoop ya!
animatronic blueprints that we discovered. Weird technology put in place to lure and trap kids. Now, this is speculation, but remember Sister Location's secret control room that allowed us to observe the crying child's bedroom, as well as other key locations from Fnaf 4? On the map, they were labeled as observation rooms. Could that be what William was observing? The effects of his mind-twisting discs on children. Could FNAF 4 not have been a dream, a nightmare, a hospital
Makes
hallucination,
sense.
whatever, but rather the twisted dreams generated by these distraction discs? But even beyond that, I think these discs explain a topic that I have actively avoided throughout all my theories on this series. The phantom animatronics from FNAF 3. Remember way,
They're the high
way
pitch-
back to
the high
FNAF
pitch
3
sounds.
when this was supposed to be the final boss battle? There was only one real animatronic out to get you, Springtrap. All the other main jump scares were hallucinations.
They're all hallucinations.
In a building that had a high-pitched whining noise the whole time. And especially when it came to the puppet attacking you. Weird that these hallucinations are happening around a time when there's high-pitched noises around, like these discs emanate. And notice that the ventilation in the game would only tend to drop after you had been scared, not before. It's as though these hallucinations aren't coming from a lack of oxygen, like Phone Dude says, but rather from some other source. A disc.
A little disc,
specifically designed
'cause
to
it's a
manipulate your
disc
mind and
theory.
bring forward all the horrific memories that you have buried in it. And regardless of whether you think Springtrap is Michael Afton or William Afton, which is honestly a theory for a whole nother day, one thing you can't deny
It's
is
only
that
one
these
Afton,
discs,
William.
Springtrap, and the Afton family are all connected, meaning that their use in a game where you're coming into direct contact with a giant golden bunny definitely makes a whole lot of sense. Could they also be the explanation for the other random Easter eggs we've seen throughout the series? The Lolbit mask and the Mini Rena's random appearances in the control room of Sister Location. The Phantom Freddy and Phantom Bonnie from FNAF 2. I mean, the FNAF 2 location does make an appearance of sorts in the book, with the discs hidden in the lights of the building. Maybe even the hallucinations of It's Me way back in FNAF 1. The ramification of discs like this changes
That's a
everything,
game changer.
And we physically see them present in Sister Location. So even if Scott is tired of the franchise, that doesn't mean it has to end without the answers that we've all been waiting for. You know what? I'm here for
It's
you.
not
to try
ending,
and put together
and we
this
still don't
mess
know
of
what's
a
in that
puzzle
box.
As a community of theorists. There's still plenty more to speculate about as the Twisted Ones opens the door to even more interesting and even more absurd ways of maiming and murdering children with Chuck E. Cheese style robotics. And I haven't even gotten to how I think the main character of the book series is probably a robot. But again, those are all theories for other days. In the meantime, remember, that's just a theory.
A game theory. Let's
Thanks for watching.
go.
You know, at this point, FNAF
Boo Dollar Shave Club. Dude, chat. Again, this is why I am absolutely loving going back and watching these older ones for the first time. Because again, there's just so much stuff that, you know, doesn't get covered in the newer ones because again, he's already covered it and maybe it has or hasn't changed. But so again, you guys gotta let me know in the comments what is there bits of lore that is different for the book than the game? Because I know overall, right, we try and say it kind of blends together and meshes, but not all of it does. So what's under whose house and whose house and what is under? Because it seems like this book is saying something different than what we know now. So again, this is 5 years old lore, so I'm not sure what remains, what doesn't, but I do know I absolutely love this. And this disc control thing, which we've already known about, but I love that this is like the most we've dived into it, is a game changer, and it changes a lot of stuff of what's capable by the animatronics, what they can control, and I absolutely loved it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you show Matt Pat at Game Theory some love by subscribing to their channel. If you enjoy my reaction, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free, and it greatly helps out the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, and remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats, and as usual, be kind of one another. That's all I got. Boom, I'm out. Got nothing but love for the Sauce Gang. Peace out, Sauce Gang.